Hello, how you guys doing today? Hey, welcome. I'm gonna give it a few seconds for people to jump on the live if you do, and while you're coming in, drop where you're watching from in the comments. And how's the weather? Are you having a good day? Are you having a good week? Um, so while we wait, I want to talk about something real quick. A lot of people are using AI wrong. Uh, what they're doing. So a lot of people are using AI wrong. They're typing in basic prompts and getting basic answers and then saying AI doesn't work for them. That's like buying a gym membership and only using the parking lot. Now, what I do and what I teach at Promptify is prompt engineering. That can sound complicated, but it literally just means knowing how to talk to AI so it gives you something that you can actually use. Today, I'm going to show you in a topic, and by the end of this, you'll be able to do this yourself in about 5 minutes. Everything I show you is inside Promptify, and it's free to start, and the link is in my bio. Today, what we'll talk about is so it just as per usual, all the shorts that I did today are going to make up this long form. It's an entire system. You can use each of them individually for how it's applied, but it actually is a part of an entire system. So I'm going to explain that entire system from start to finish. It just as usual. So for today, we're gonna run a blank. Let me just say the sentence that summarizes. Let me just say that first. This sentence summarizes exactly what we're going to talk about. Run a brand collaboration like a small production. That could mean so many different things. Let's like get some clarity in there. And then how all the short form videos where I had 5 different prompts makes up this entire system. This doing exactly running a brand collaboration like a small production. So this starts as one loose brand email and ends as a shootable, reviewable collaboration plan without inventing terms you have not agreed to, right? Now, this could be as simple as a conversation and then maybe just clarifying questions back and forth about what's what. But you can just give it structure and have a system, excuse me, take care of all this, right? And then there's no question about anything, just like there could be no question about anything because you and someone else who are experienced at this converse and you explain to each other and just explain what's negotiable or not and be exact about what's going on before you start a project. Well, you can also just have a worksheet that has all this information and what needs to be filled in and the prompts and blah blah blah, and you get the same result, but you don't. There's no brain work that you have to put into this. AKA, I offer these systems. Systems can make things easier while also making sure everything gets done. Obviously, right? So there's less brain work for you if that matters to you, or if that's even applicable. Or maybe you don't know this, and then here it is right here. Or maybe you made a mistake, and here's something that erases the mistake because it's a system that gives you the result, right? You just fill in what you need to fill in and what's applicable, and then it's all being addressed. So what we're gonna talk about is, so real quick, like I said, I'm gonna say a sentence that kind of gives a summary of the prompt I'm gonna show. There's 5 prompts. I'm gonna summarize it in a sentence, but it's also a step of the process in the system. Then I'm gonna flip to the screen, showcase every single prompt, read every single prompt, read every single answer, and then explain why it creates the exact system that it does, which is kind of telling the story as I'm doing it, but I'm just gonna showcase all of it, show exactly what each step is, and then kind of say, oh yeah, and that's why it makes up the system, even though I pretty much just showcase that, right? But just to package all this information together. So the first prompt is, and let me just say this real quick. Creator work gets easier when the agreement and the production plan are not living in your head. Obviously, common sense wise, it that just should just be communicated to whoever is involved and whoever has some type of responsibility or has to be doing something in this. You should actually communicate what needs to be communicated. That should be common, but not knocking you, and also by saying it should be common sense. But what happens is, let's give you some structure if you need, right? So that none of this stuff, all these things are addressed. So it's not a by the end of a project, if something doesn't work, you know exactly what the answer is because the structure would reveal it, or whoever was responsible for it, that's instantly revealed because that was already pre-discussed, or whatever happened. There's no, oh, let me figure out what happened. No, it's, you know what happened because you have a system that walked you through every single step and guaranteed the result, or guaranteed that you could understand why the result didn't happen, right? The result is based on what you succeeding with your business is based on you actually have being able to do what it takes, but you making sure that you were responsible and had all the information at hand and had a structure to assist you through every step need be. That's a walk in the park because here it is right here, right? Here's some structure that makes sure you're on top of all that. So now what I'll say for the first prompt is, here's the thing. So label missing terms. The first prompt is going to be about labeling missing terms. Second prompt is going to be about build shots from visible approved facts. The third prompt is going to be about preserve setup or pickup buffers. The fourth prompt is going to be about clarify feedback before editing, and the fifth prompt is going to be about track reuse rights and actual agreement. But that it should be a given that you like if you don't own something and you didn't create something and you go to use it, you should be aware, bare minimal, like what the consequence of that could be, or that, well, you should have just asked the person who it belonged to if that was possible. Like literally, it doesn't even have to be about them coming and saying something. A platform could understand that you don't own something and you posted it, and then the platform could ban your account, like a social media platform. Or if you try to run an ad, for example, and you don't own, this is not something you recorded or created or own that yourself, right? And you record it or take a pic, you have somebody else's recording or picture, whether they has copyrights on that or not. Like if that somehow is copyrighted, the system could pick that up and then just ban your ad account. Now you got to go create a new phone number, new email, and hope that it doesn't track back to your prior information to make a new account, and then build up that account so you can now. So it's just like you should be aware that like there's a bunch of things in place that would keep you from using something without permission. So why would you do that? Why would you not go and make sure that's already taken care of? Because it's costly for not being clear about things like that, right? Like as I said, and when I say costly, not just time costly, also financially costly if it gets to that point, right? So I'm just saying, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to the screen, showcase every single prompt, read them off, explain why each step matters in the system and exactly what it did. So ready? So at the top, first prompt, we have turn this collaboration email into a creative brief. Return confirmed. What's gonna return is confirmed deliverables. There's gonna be a key message. There's gonna be a due date. There's gonna be required assets. There's gonna be approved steps, and there's gonna be missing terms. Do not infer payment. Do not infer exclusivity. Do not infer usage rights, and do not refer revision limits. The email, well, guess what? I filled in some information beforehand to use for this example. It's different from what I've been using the past few days, but it's just another example that we'll use to do this. So here we go. So the confirmed deliverable. So as part of the answer, the confirmed deliverables is LinkedIn messaging audit of 10 LinkedIn posts. The second thing in the confirmed deliverables is a PDF containing the audit findings and 5 priority recommendations. Oh, okay, my fault. This is actually similar to it's similar to what the example I've been using. There's maybe some add-ins I had in there, right? So, and then the third part of the confirmed deliverables is a 45-minute client walkthrough. Key message is Identify repeated messaging gaps across 10 LinkedIn posts. It pretty much the same example. I thought I'd change some things. So the due date is not stated, and required assets is 10 LinkedIn posts provided by the Bright Path Consulting, and access to shared Google Drive folder. Those are the required assets. Now the approval steps are so the first is Maya Chen, marketing director, reviews the PDF, just made up somebody's name. Approval. The second part of approval steps is questions are brought to for a 45-minute walkthrough. The third part of approval steps is additional approval steps not stated. The missing terms is payment terms not stated. The second thing in missing terms is exclusivity is not stated. Third thing in missing terms is usage rights not stated. The fourth thing in the missing terms is revision limits are not stated. And the fifth thing in missing terms is due date is not stated. Now, what did this answer do specifically? Based on the information I gave it, it turned a collaboration email into a creator brief. Within that creator brief, what did it include? I'm going to scroll down and show that. And it also says this in the prompt, so read this here. I'm going to also scroll down again and just show what it what it included in the creator brief. It included the confirmed deliverables, the key message, any due dates, required assets, approval steps, and missing items. And that was exactly what we asked it to do in the prompt. And then it did not infer payment, did not infer exclusivity, it did not include infer usage rights, and it did not infer revision limits. Now you would basically have your own email, but here's the thing, right? You see all these. Here's the thing: if you have your own, if you're literally doing business or entrepreneurship, or you're a freelancer, what happens is you know exactly what you need, right? So I said things. So I'm not saying these are big words or big phrases. It would be applicable to you, right? So I said things like confirmed deliverables, key message, due date, required assets, approved steps, and missing terms. What you would fill in is exactly what you need, what you know you need to have from that email, right? So you might just have a due date and comments about a revision. It could be that simple. This is what applies to you. You might just have confirmed deliverables and key assets and a potential start date. But it has to be applicable to, like, I didn't really have to say that, but like what I'm trying to do is kind of just make these videos more translated to any audience who's watching. So I'm using a specific example, but what I will say is, like, listen, you might not have understood things I just said because it's like applicable to a specific type of business and their specific wording they use, because this is the wording that they use to describe the things that they're talking about. Like, their variables could be different from many other businesses, right? And I've actually done business in many different lanes, so I can just have a very broad understanding to the point where it's easy to make up examples, and or just think, oh, well, if there's a business to business transaction or a business to customer transaction, and this is what the business offers, what would they need between businesses and between business to customer? Not just because I've done it myself, but this stuff just makes sense to me because I've been doing this for a while. But what I'm kind of trying to say is, like, you don't have to even really know what I'm saying. You just take the structure that I'm talking about and you apply what's necessary. You might just have one thing that you need to put in that prompt. There's businesses that might have many more things because that's applicable. These are necessary things that they need to be communicating, right? So blah, 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 just kind of saying, like, this is that's a cookie cutter type of prompt for it mentions specific things, but you can easily change it to suit your needs. Obviously, you would just have to know exactly what is necessary for what you're doing. And then that's all the only things that you put in there is what's necessary to what you're doing, right? But obviously, this example has its own variables. Now, after that, kind of maybe a bit unnecessary segue because I didn't realize. I'm pretty sure people just get that. But like I said, anybody could click on this video. I'm just trying to make it make sense. Yes, you can fill in your own information regarding any variable. But the main structure is the idea I'm trying to communicate. So for the second prompt, create a 4-shot vertical video plan using only these approved product facts. For each shot, include visual action, on-screen text, and one spoken line. Avoid, excuse me. Let me just reread this. So create a 4-shot vertical video plan using only these approved product facts. For each shot, include visual action, include on-screen text, include one spoken line. And what you're going to avoid is health, you're going to avoid performance, and you're going to avoid outcome claims not included below. So I gave it a list of facts to work with. Now, so I'm just going to read off the answer and explain how the prompt did that. So approved facts, the product is a LinkedIn message. The product is, the first part of approved facts is the product is a LinkedIn messaging gap checklist. The second part of approved facts is it is a 1-page resource. The third part of approved facts is it is designed to help review 10 LinkedIn posts. The fourth part of approved facts is it focuses on identifying repeat messaging gaps. And the fifth part of approved facts is it includes a checklist format. So for shot 1, there's visual action, show the 1-page checklist on screen. For the second part of shot 1 there's on-screen text. There's a LinkedIn messaging gap checklist. That's literally what the on-screen text would say for the first shot. Then the third part of shot 1 is there's a spoken line. This is a 1-page LinkedIn messaging gap checklist where you literally say that in the video. And this is just an example. So like if you were making like social media posts or whatever, that would be included in that reel or that post, right? Or that story post or whatever it is. For the second shot is the first part of the second shot is visual action. Point to the section for reviewing posts. The second part of the second shot is the on-screen text would say review 10 LinkedIn posts. And the third part of the second shot would be there's a spoken line that says the resource is designed for reviewing 10 LinkedIn posts. Now for shot 3, the first part of shot 3 would be visual action, highlight the section about messaging gaps. The second part of shot 3 would be identify repeat messaging gaps. And the third part of shot 3 would be the focuses on identifying repeat messaging gaps. Now for shot 4, the visual action part of shot 4 would be scroll or point through the checklist format. The on-screen text part of shot 4 would be checklist format. And the spoken line part of shot 4 would be the resource uses a checklist format. I'm gonna scroll back up to the prompt and just explain again. So create a 4-shot vertical video plan using only these approved product facts. So there's a list of product facts at the top. Then I literally just read off 4 shots. You can see shot 1, you can see shot 2 there, and literally what was a part of each shot. So it said for each shot include the visual action, the on-screen text, and the one spoken line. That's literally what I did. So you can see just in this example right here for shot 1, there's a visual action, there's an on-screen text, and then there's a spoken line. So literally, and built all this based off of approved facts, right? So exactly what the prompt had asked, which was create a 4-shot vertical video plan using only these approved product facts. So now we're going to move on to the next prompt. Also, this is going to go over 20 minutes. So what I'm going to say next is partially going to be on Instagram. Again, you can go to TikTok and YouTube to find the full form. If you need the link, just send me a DM or a comment and I'll send the link right to you so you can actually see the full version if you want to. The third short is All right, so create a filming schedule from create a filming schedule from these deliverables and available time. So create a filming schedule from these deliverables and available time. You're going to include setup. You're going to include filming. You're going to include filming blocks. You're going to include pickups, and you're going to include the backup, and you're going to include a buffer. If all work does not fit, list what should move instead of compressing the schedule, and then would have pasted the deliverables and would have pasted the available time, which I spoke to ChatGPT about, so it has that information. So here we go. I'm just going to read off the answer. So the block is going to be, So the first block is going to be setup. The time for that is going to be 10 minutes. And the activity is going to be set up the filming space and prepare the one-page checklist. The second block is going to be filming block 1. That's going to be 20 minutes, and it's going to be film shots 1 and 2. The third block is going to be filming block 2. It's going to take 20 minutes, and the time frames, it could vary, obviously. But this is giving some type of structure to work with, whether you stay within that time frame or not. By the end of this, if you try to do it within the time frame, you're going to be somewhere around that amount of time by the end of it, which could be good for your schedule, where you're trying to do things within a certain amount of time, obviously, which is the whole point of giving a time frame. Not that you have to obey it, but it makes it so that you at least land within the threshold. If you know what you're doing, and it's a realistic amount of time that you gave yourself, and a realistic amount of time that it would take to do that, yeah, you should land within the threshold, obviously, right? We're just talking about scheduling in general. So, did I already say this? And let me say it one more time. The third block is going to be filming block 2. It's going to take about 20 minutes, and then film shots 3 and 4. The fourth block is pickups. It should take about 10 minutes, and refilm any individual lines or shots that need another take. The fifth block is going to be backup. It should take 5 minutes, and you save and back up the recorded footage. Maybe your phone lags or it takes more than 5 minutes. Who knows, right? The sixth block, is that the sixth block? Yeah, I think so. Yep. Is going to be buffer. That should take about 10 minutes. And it's unscheduled buffer for setup or filming adjustments. And the total should be about 75 minutes. And there's 15 minutes remains available, which can be a part of you having wiggle room, because let's say that they're supposed to take 90 minutes in total. Well, you just left yourself wiggle room for, like I said, threshold. Even if it goes above the 90 minutes, even though you had an extra 15-minute window, we're talking about landing in threshold of time, because maybe you have a schedule and you only had around 90 minutes less, or maybe a bit more, to get this done, right? And if you don't, maybe they push into other things, but the reason you give yourself time frames and try to estimate and be realistic is so that you can get things done within a certain amount of time. Obviously, the whole point is that you're aiming to try and get it within the time frame for your own good, because maybe that matters to your schedule and how much you have going on that day, that you would want to try to at least get it within a time frame, right? Now what that obviously did, after that little segue, is, what did I just read off? It was create a filming schedule. Create a filming schedule from these deliverables and available times. And we included setup, we included filming blocks, we included pickups, we included backup, and we included a buffer. And if it does not fit, list what should move instead of compressing the schedule. And that's exactly what it did. As you can see, I read off every single block and the amount of time it would take, and what specific activity you're doing during that block. Now let me just scroll back up, because I accidentally scrolled down to the very bottom of the page. But yep, that's what it showed. As you can see, the blocks again was set up. There's filming block 1, there's filming block 2, there's pickups, there's backup, there's buffer, and then I literally listed the amount of time each one would take, and then listed the activity you're doing through each, and that was basically AI giving structure to all that, and including the fact that you had 90 minutes to do this in general, and giving realistic amount of time for each of these things. You can obviously talk to AI and get very specific about like you could tell AI like this is how long it usually takes me to do this and that. Keep that in mind when you create the schedule, so that it can keep that in mind, so that you can, like I said, get your cookie cutter results by using constraints that you're being specific about specific things, so AI can keep that in mind when it goes and then gives you some type of answer to work with. It keeps that in mind. Now you have a more clear answer, or way more exact answer, if not literally dead on accurate, right? So next prompt is draft a concise clarification reply to this feedback. Ask for the exact timestamp or asset, request change, approve message to follow, and priority if multiple edits are mentioned. Stay collaborative. Do not argue or promise a turnaround. And then we pasted the feedback. So, but the answer for this be is, so this is the reply to this feedback that I use for an example. The answer is hi Maya. Probably didn't pronounce that properly, by the way. Hi Maya, thank you for the feedback. To make sure I'm working from the right details, could you send? And then the first point would be exact timestamp or asset, which video, shot or timestamp should I reference? The second thing would be request a change. What specifically would you like changed? The third thing would be an approved message. And the approved message is okay. The next thing will be an approved message, and then is there a specific approved wording or message I should follow? And then the priority is if there are multiple edits, what should be addressed first? And then you said thanks, right? So, and then what was this answer? This answer is drafting a concise clarification reply to this feedback. And I gave it information to use. And what we did with this is you asked for the exact timestamp or asset, which is like the exact first thing we asked. Literally, you can see in the bold on the first point. The second thing we did was we requested change. We described that as well. The third thing is we approve. There's an approved message to follow. And we asked if there is a specific approved wording or message that should be followed. And then the fourth point was that was priority. So it was priority if multiple edits are mentioned. So what is a priority if there's going to be multiple edits? So we address all that in that prompt, right? And then I got to clean this up quick because about to hit 30 minutes. So this won't even fit on Instagram possibly. I might just have to cut this off here, and then let me think. Let me just see how this turns out. So organize these content assets into, there's going to be likely reusable, there's going to be check agreement, permission, and unclear. And for every item, cite the term or missing term that caused the label. Do not provide legal advice or state that rights exist unless explicitly written. And the assets and agreement notes, right? So for this, using the same fictional Brightpath Consulting project, there's likely reusable. So there's 10 LinkedIn posts for the first thing and likely reusable. There's the agreement notes where you explicitly identify 10 LinkedIn posts as the project source material. There's audit findings. The second thing in likely reusable is audit findings. The agreed deliverables include audit findings. The third thing in likely reusable is 5 priority recommendations. The notes explicitly include 5 priority recommendations. The next thing is check agreement permission. So the first point in that is client provided LinkedIn posts content for reuse in new promotional content. No explicit term states that the post may be reused outside the audit deliverable term or missing term. No stated reuse permission. The second point of check agreement permission is screenshots of the LinkedIn post. No explicit permission or usage term is stated for screenshots. Term or missing term. No stated screenshots permission. And then what is unclear out of all this? What's unclear is the Google Drive folder contents beyond the audit materials. The notes mention a shared Google Drive folder, but do not specify what other materials may be used. And the term or missing term is contents and permitted are not stated. And then the second thing in unclear is the PDF for use outside the client walkthrough. The notes confirm a PDF deliverable, but do not state additional uses. And the term or missing term is no stated use beyond the deliverable walkthrough. So what this did here for this prompt is we organize these content assets into there's going to be likely reusable, there's going to be check agreement and permission, and there's going to be unclear. So we listed all those things, and then we listed every part of them. So for every item, we cited the term or missing term that caused a label. So we cited the things that were going on, and then we literally gave a term or missing term that caused that label. So for us to say that we're going to assign it this, here's the exact thing why out of whatever description we have regarding this thing. So that is very clear. We have the explanation, then we have the exact reason why we put it in that column or in that section, or we labeled it like that, right? So, and then do not provide legal advice or state that rights exist unless explicitly written. Obviously didn't do that. And then this was all taken from the assets and agreement notes. So notes regarding that, this information was taken from that in the example, but it can be in real life as well. Now, and what did we talk about today in general? So today the talk was about, let me just go and read the exact title. So I'm just referring to exactly that. So today was running a brand collaboration like a small production. And what did we do? We gave it a specific example, and then we walked through every single step that would be regarding that. Literally, not all these steps are applicable for every type of business to business or business to customer or business to freelancer collaboration or scenario. Not all this is not all this is applicable. For every single one, but you take what's applicable and then you just utilize the system so that there's no guesswork about why anything ends up anyway. Any type of thing that goes on at all, there's something addressing all that within the system. Each prompt address a bunch of things that would matter for something like this. Now, as I usually say, if you'd like access to high quality prompts like this and more, you can find them inside Promptify. High quality prompts in systems like this, you can find them inside Promptify. It's free to start, and the link is in the bio. Also, as you notice, I don't think I've maybe clarified this generally, but what do I talk about with Promptify? I talk about, obviously you can use ChatGPT for anything, but as you can see, I'm targeting any type of businesses, any type of business work, any type of people working and having a job, and anything regarding that, any type of things where people are, any type of freelancer, anything where people are students in school or students anywhere, any type of planning in life. So as would bounce back and forth between types of different types of examples of the things I just mentioned, obviously. But yeah, so that I'm just saying in general. But today I've been talking about business quite a bit recently, right? There's the thing. If you if you like access to high quality prompts or high quality systems like this or more, regarding many different areas. You can find them inside Promptify. It's free to start in the link. The link is in the bio. Now, if there's anything I did say today that was helpful, that is amazing, and I hope you have a great day.